A strike on the Underground will go ahead at midnight after talks once again failed to get a breakthrough. Services will be hit all day tomorrow as RMT members refuse to work. Union bosses and TfL held meetings earlier but failed to reach an agreement on a number of issues, including a new 4-day working week. Well, our political correspondent Simon Harris joins us now from Temple Station. So, Simon, they tried, didn't they, but no success?
Yes, Charlene, they spent 5 hours at the conciliation service ACAS, but in the end there was no agreement, so tomorrow's strike is definitely on, and quite probably Thursday's too. The dispute, as you said, is over Transport for London's proposal to introduce a 4-day week, which you might assume some drivers would welcome. But in a statement issued a short time ago, the RMT union said, despite our best efforts in ACAS talks, TfL have failed to provide assurances on our members' deeply held concerns around fatigue, reduced flexibility, shift length, and the impact these proposals could have in a safety-critical role like tube driving. Transport for London said that was bitterly disappointing and is now waiting to see just how many drivers actually join the strike.
We've certainly seen a larger proportion of drivers attending for work during the strike action last time. Obviously, it remains to be seen what happens this week. But as we've said over and over, this is a voluntary scheme for a 4-day week. It will really even out and make a better work-life balance. And we really hope that people will be encouraged to come into work.
So what impact will the strike have? As we heard there, TfL is hoping there will be less disruption than during the last one in April. But at this stage, it seems there will be no trains on the Piccadilly or Circle lines and no trains on the central London sections of the Central Line and the Metropolitan Line. Any trains that do run are likely to finish at 9 o'clock at night, and there'll be a late start when trains resume on Wednesday. It's worth pointing out that the other union, the drivers' union, ASLEF, would like to see the 4-day week introduced as soon as possible and said it was surprised by the RMT's stand on this issue.
All right, Simon, thanks very much. But first, the Mayor's called for under-16s to be banned from social media as he called out the so-called manosphere, the toxic online personalities influencing young boys. It comes as new research suggested more teenage boys in London are adopting negative language and attitudes that they have found online. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
At the extreme end of the manosphere are influencers like Andrew Tate. But there are others promoting themselves online as role models, offering seductive lifestyles.
Everything is popping, Dubai's the best city in the world, come here.
Today, London's mayor had the social media companies in his sights. Sporting a new look, he was on a new mission, calling on the government to tackle toxic masculinity.
I believe there must be a ban on under-16s accessing social media.
Football is seen as an antidote to the manosphere, offering more positive role models. At this club in Plumstead, some of the teenagers have encountered toxic masculinity, but don't support a blanket ban.
It can really have negative effects, especially on different friend groups. That I saw many friend groups split due to like toxic masculinity and what they preached.
You shouldn't ban it because it gives you the opportunity to learn about different stuff. It can be good, it can be positive. You just really have to limit what they have access to.
I don't think there's any need for a ban, but that there are certain things that there should be limited access to.
But the mayor believes social media companies need to be confronted.
Until these social media companies can show it's safe, I don't think children should be on social media, just like I don't think anybody should be in a piece of food unless the food companies show it's...
Who's going to police that?
It can't be beyond the wit of us to make sure that until social media is safe, young people shouldn't be on there.
Are you saying that there is no social media that children under 16 should be allowed to access?
Unless the social media companies can show their product isn't harmful, unless they can show it is safe, I think there should be a ban for all under 16s being on social media.
An Australia-style ban on under-16s accessing social media isn't government policy, although ministers are considering it. Sadiq Khan is the latest voice to join the growing calls. Simon Harris, ITV News, Shoreditch.
Good evening. The Prime Minister has condemned what he called an unforgivable response to the killing of Thurrock student Henry Novak. Sir Keir Starmer said Reform UK leader Nigel Farage was exploiting the 18-year-old's murder. Henry was killed by a Sikh man who falsely accused him of racism and was then handcuffed as he lay dying. Last night, there were violent clashes between protesters and the police in Southampton, where it happened. The political row after the killing has led to a review of a police commitment to anti-racism, a commitment that was developed precisely because of the differences in how black people are treated by officers and the low level of trust that has created. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports from Thurrock.
Not far from where Henry Novak was handcuffed before he died, police became the target of a violent mob. Henry was stabbed to death by a man who falsely claimed he was racially abused. The clashes in Southampton, where Henry was a student, led to questions in Parliament today and an angry demand from one party leader.
End this divisive practice of two-tier policing and make sure that all British citizens are treated the same.
The Prime Minister said the violence was unacceptable and turned his fire on Nigel Farage.
Exploiting this tragedy to create grievance and division would be wrong in any circumstances, but to do it when the family are expressly saying, please don't, is unforgivable.
Henry Novak grew up in Chafford Hundred, close to the Essex town of Grays. This time last year, he was doing his A-levels at an academy close to his home. One tribute to the teenager came from the head of the academy, who described Henry as someone who worked extremely hard and was much loved. He was also regarded as a role model for younger students. The local MP is someone else touched by Henry's memory.
Lots of people knew the family personally or, tangentially. There was, massive memorial at the school. It allowed former pupils to express their memories. On the day of his funeral, people lined up as he left for the last time. Sorry.
No. And in Grays today, people were keen to share their opinion of what happened to Henry.
To be laying on the floor, dying, and being told, don't think you are, mate, when he said he'd been stabbed, sickening.
I think police were a little pre-assumptive about it, and they thought, oh yeah, we know who is the bad guy, who's the good guy, so they just made the decision. They shouldn't have done it.
The police, they need to be held accountable for it, don't they?
Oh, I can't breathe. The shocking body cam footage of Henry's arrest has led to some calls for changes to police guidelines introduced in the wake of Black Lives Matter. In particular, the National Police Chiefs Council commitment to the long-term aspirations of an anti-racist police service. Forces say their aims are producing equality of policing outcomes for people from different ethnic groups by responding to individuals and communities according to their specific needs, circumstances and experiences. But this retired Met superintendent is worried about watering down hard-won changes.
You'll start to see trust and confidence getting even lower, and at the moment it's not very good. It's almost at an all-time low, and it could get even worse.
Tonight, a senior police officer apologised to Henry's family, saying his arrest and handcuffing was wrong. Simon Harris, ITV News.
And as Helen mentioned there, Henry's case has sparked huge debates among the public and a political row. Our political correspondent Simon Harris will be discussing it on his programme from Westminster tonight, The Late Debates.
Yes, we're going to talk some more about the way Henry was treated and discuss the fallout from the court case. Is this evidence, as Nigel Farage claims, of two-tier policing? Do guidelines about diversity and equality need a rethink? Or will watering down hard-won reforms be a backward step? I'll be joined in the studio by MPs Louis French, Paul Kohler and Mietta Fawn Buller. She, of course, was the first minister to quit Keir Starmer's government after Labour's catastrophic local election results. We'll examine the Prime Minister's precarious position. And after London's mayor joined the calls for under-16s to be banned from social media, should the government follow Australia's example? That's The Late Debate here on ITV1 after news at 10.